Hello peeps, my name is Miss Tez and I teach 4th grade. I am here making this video to tell you about a country that I absolutely love, and it is South Korea. So, South Korea, the Korean flag has some pretty incredible meaning. It has different parts to it, and I can never remember all of the parts, so I just basically copied and pasted a Wikipedia explanation of it, so you can go through that and read it if you'd like. My life in Korea. So I graduated college. I graduated college and decided to move to South Korea to teach English. I went with a program called EPIK, which stands for English Program in Korea, and they take teachers and place them in public schools. So I packed up my stuff into 2 suitcases and I flew to South Korea, and it was my first time in an airplane, which is insane, I know. So Korea is located between 2 historically pretty powerful countries, Japan and China. And then of course you have North Korea to their north. And in South Korea, I lived in a city called Jecheon, and it was located in the province of Chungbuk. So Seoul is right here. It took about 2 hours by bus to get there. And the population of Jecheon, the city I lived in, was 137,000 people, which was a really big city for me because I'm from Alvin, and the population I think is like 23,000 people. So it was a big adjustment. I don't have a lot of pictures of my apartment, but it was a kind of a 2-room apartment. There was 1 bedroom / living area, and then I had like a very small kitchen, and I would cook all of my meals on this hot plate setup. In Jecheon, it was beautiful. There were lots of flowers, lots of rice fields and things like that. If you can see here in the background that there's mountains. Anywhere you stand in Korea, if you look around you, there's going to be a mountain. It's very mountainous. So you're not going to look out and be able to see like as far as the eye can see, because as far as your eye can see is gonna be a mountain. So that's really cool for me because, once again, the area that I'm from, where we live, it's very flat. And so moving to a very mountainous country was really exciting. Here's a picture of the city of Jecheon and the rice fields. So the rice fields were on the outskirts of the city. This is a rock that my Aunt Stella insisted that I collect for her. It's weird. Rice fields again. Rice fields again. For groceries, you could definitely go to a supermarket, but sometimes I would go to the market, and this is my friend Alyssa buying some tofu. This is just an example, but you could get all kinds of delicious things. One thing that's really cool in Korea is that people don't really steal, and so stores will set up entire displays outside, and no one's going to mess with it. Like, people are very honest, and it's not an issue. Another thing that's really cool about Korea is socks. Just Google Korean socks. It's insane. They're amazing. And I went back to visit 2 years after I got home. So I graduated in 2012, and then I lived in Korea until 2014. And so then I went back to Korea in 2016 to visit like my friends that I made there, and I pretty much had a carry-on suitcase of socks. Yeah. I made tamales once for Christmas, which was exciting. A popular Korean pastime is noraebang. Nore is song and bang is room. So instead of karaoke is actually a Japanese word, and the karaoke in Korean is noraebang. In Jecheon, where I lived, there was a reservoir, and people, when the lakes froze over, they would drill holes to go ice fishing. I may or may not have eaten a very small live fish once. And whenever it thawed, of course, this is what it looked like. It was beautiful. Once again, mountains everywhere, a little swan boat. And I put a picture of power lines because they always looked really hectic, but I'm sure it's organized chaos. And this is my school. So my school is called Jecheon, which is the city. So this is Jecheon. And then Yeoja, which is girl. So it was an all-girl school. Jung, which is middle school, junior high. Hakyo. Hakyo is school. So this is Jecheon Yeoja Jung Hakyo. So this is the driveway that I would walk up every day that we went to school, because I would walk to school. It was about a 30-minute walk. So this is a picture of my school in the fall. And this is one of my favorite pictures I've ever taken. One of my really good friends actually painted a copy of this picture. And if you can see back here, there are students who are holding rakes and brooms. I'll tell you about that later. So this is during winter time, a picture of my badge. This is my principal. So he is referred to as Kyojang Sungsingnim, and he doesn't look like it, but he really, really liked me. And so this is a picture. See, he's starting to smile a little bit here. And what's really interesting about the principal and the assistant principal in Korea is that whenever he walks into the room, everyone stands up and bows and like greets him. So he's a very highly respected person in South Korea. I taught 14 classes with about 32 students in each class. So I'll let you figure out that math. And the way I was able to do that is I taught with Korean English teachers. So these were some of my co-teachers, not all of my co-teachers, but a good number of them. And what I would do is I would go to my class with my co-teacher, and they would help translate for me. And we would just work on getting the students speaking, because most of my students did not speak English. Just like a very small handful of them did. One thing that's pretty cool about Korean schools is that whenever you come into school, you take off your shoes, which is very common in Korea. You don't wear your shoes inside. You take them off, and you either wear your socks, bare feet, or slippers. And at school, we wore slippers. This is my wintertime pair. And students wore uniforms, and they have very strict dress code about the length of their hair and things like that. So their dress code even goes to their hair. It can't be past their shoulders, and then everyone has to wear a name tag as well. These are some of my classes. I'll just go through them very quickly. Classrooms look really different, kind of like they do here. If you go to a different school, classroom will look different. But I'm gonna give you all this slideshow that you can see, so you can take more time to look at the photos if you'd like. And teacher offices. So instead of, like, for example, I have a classroom at school at York, and my classes switch and they come to me. But in Korea, it's opposite. Students are assigned a class, like this is their homeroom class, and then teachers go to them. So whenever it was my time to teach, my co-teacher and I would get our computers, and we would go to the students' class. And there's a picture of me with some students at my desk, and I couldn't find a picture of my teacher office, but they all kind of look similar, and this is an example of that. And students, like I said, have assigned classrooms. We took field trips. Everyone was really responsible. This is how many kids we would take on a field trip, and it was okay. So during breaks, I would cook. I would teach a cooking class because I really enjoy cooking, and we would write recipes in English, and we would make cooking videos where the students would have to speak in English as well. So this is a very special lady. I'll talk about her in a little bit. And one of my students, we were making gnocchi here. And I think here we were maybe making chili. So this is my group and some of my kids. Once again, you can go back and look at these if you'd like. So I'll just go through. Every year there was an art day. There's also a children's day in South Korea, which is pretty cool. There's no school on that day. Cleaning time. So every day there's a time where all students clean the school. So there aren't like a bunch of custodians. The kids clean it. And so, I think maybe there was like 1 or 2 custodians on the school grounds, but every homeroom was assigned a duty for that week. And so maybe you were mopping, maybe you were sweeping, maybe you were raking, whatever it was, everyone had a job to do every day. And so, like, here are some students sweeping and mopping the stairs. So that's just a part of life, and I personally really liked it. I think it teaches, responsibility. Sometimes when it was snowing, teachers would have to go out and shovel snow so that other teachers could drive in. So it got really cold in Korea. There's also 4 distinct seasons. So they have a summer, they have a fall, they have a winter, they have a spring. So it's actually really beautiful. The summer is miserable because it's very humid, because Korea is a peninsula. So here are some examples of me being super cheesy with beautiful trees. And a picture of my school with beautiful spring colors. Peanuts. So this is interesting because Korean people are very giving and they love to feed you. So I would walk up to my desk and there'd be like a bag of peanuts on my desk. And I didn't know who gave it to me. Or there'd be like a bunch of tangerines or a bag of apples or some steamed sweet potatoes. They're just someone's daughter-in-law or something has a farm and they just give. So my people, I'm just gonna briefly talk about like friends that I made and that I've gone back to visit, and you can go through and see them more. But this is Clara. So she was my coordinator. So she was in charge of basically keeping me alive in Korea. She would translate for me. Her Korean name is Park Young-ok. So in Korea, instead of saying your last name last, you say it first. So for example, I would be Teles or Tea's Jeanette. So this is Clara. Her first name is Kyung-ok, but her last name is Park. And so her name would be called Park Young-ok. So she's a pretty special lady. I've never met anyone like her, and I still haven't. And she was my mom, my Korean mom. These are my landlords, actually. I really, really like them. They didn't speak any English, but somehow we figured out a way to communicate. This is my ajuma. Let me move myself. There we go. This is my ajuma. And ajuma is just a word that refers to a married woman, but I insisted on calling her my ajuma. So I could call anyone like, hi ajuma, like annyeonghaseyo ajuma, but I called her my ajuma, and this was my ajashi, which is the same, referring to a married man, kind of like an uncle, I guess. Once again, my ajuma and ajashi, and 2 of my apartment neighbors, and then I went back to visit. Chingu is the Korean word for friends. So here are some pictures of me and my friends. Ooh, these pants. I call them ajuma pants because they're very common for ajumas to wear, and they're the most comfortable thing you will ever wear in your life. Food.